Today we're going to talk about solving quadratics with a calculator. So remember that the zeros of a quadratic are the same as the solutions to a quadratic equation. So remember that these are also called x-intercepts if we look at them on a graph. So the x-intercepts are literally the solutions to the quadratic. So let's go on and go through this here. Solve the equation using their graphing calculator and graph the quadratic. So we have some directions here for you, so please, when you do this, follow these directions, okay? They are here for you for a reason. So I'm going to grab my graphing calculator. I'm actually going to hit second plus 712. While I do this, I just want to remind you, you can pause the video at any time. You can go back and rewatch sections. So I'm going to go at my speed, but remember that you can pause me and you can go back. So the first thing it says is put the equation in standard form, make it equal to 0. Well, if you look here, this is already in standard form. It's equal to 0. So your first step's totally done for you. The next one is type it into y equals and press zoom 6 to graph in a standard window. So here's y equals right here. We're going to go ahead and type this in. So x squared. Now, if you didn't see what buttons I pressed there, let me do it one more time here. X squared. I'm going to come back down by hitting the right arrow, and then plus 3x minus 8. Okay, and then it said to hit zoom 6 to see it in a standard window. Now, if you've cleared your calculator out completely, then you're going to see it in a standard window anyway. But just in case you haven't, hitting zoom 6 will make you go to that nice standard window. It says press Calc or second trace and choose 2, which is the 0. Now remember we talked about zeros are the x-intercepts. So what we're looking for right here is these two x-intercepts. So it says hit second trace and go to Calc and choose 2, which is 0. So second trace, and we're going to choose 0 right here. I'm going to scroll down the screen real quick. Alright, so we got some more steps here. So step 4 says, move the cursor using the left and right arrow keys to one of the zeros or the x-intercepts. So I'm going to focus here on the left one first, just because I like to go left to right. That's kind of how I live my life. So I'm going to keep moving this cursor until I get it near the 0. And this cursor moves very slow, so I apologize in advance for making you wait. Oh goodness. Okay, so I'm about near it, right? So let's look at step 5. Move the cursor a few times to the left and hit enter. Then move the cursor back to the 0. So let's 1, 2, 3, hit enter. Then move the cursor back to the 0. Now move the cursor a few times to the right and hit enter. 1, 2, 3. Enter. Hit enter one last time. And I believe what the calculator asks you to do is guess, right? So when it says guess, you're just going to hit enter on that. And there we go. Here's our 0. So we'll say it's negative 4.7, comma, uh-oh, we have an E. I've talked about this in my class, but in case you didn't know, an E means 0. That means this is 0. So negative 4.7, comma, 0. Negative 4.7 is the solution, comma, 0. You could also see it written this way. If I ask you for the actual solution, you can say x equals negative 4.7. We might as well go on and graph it here. So that should be between negative 4 and negative 5. Just pop a little dot right there. And let's go through these once again. So it says go through steps 3 through 7. So 3 says second trace takes you to the Calc menu and you choose 0. So second trace takes you to the Calc menu and you choose 0. And then it said, put your cursor on the other x-intercept that you're trying to find. So I'm going to go over here to the right, and my goal is to get this cursor somewhere on this x-intercept, or at least close to it. And here it comes. It moves slow. It's like me on a Monday morning, you know what I'm saying? Let's see, move this over. Maybe another one. Okay, it's close enough. Now it says go to the left a few times and hit enter. 1, 2, 3, enter. Then it says go back to the 0. Back to my 0. Then it says move the cursor to the right a few times and hit enter. 1, 2, 3, enter. Then it says hit enter on guess right here. Enter. And there we have it. Negative 1.7, comma 0. So negative 1.7, comma 0. Or if they just ask you for the solution, you could just write x equals negative 1.7. So let's go over here and graph this. This should be between the negative 1 and the negative 2. Let's look at this graph. Oh wait, why did I say negative? This is a positive 1.7. You could tell it's a Monday morning. Let's go ahead and pop that off of there. Goodbye. See? Teachers make mistakes too. There we go. Alright, and then once you have this, you're just going to do like a rough sketch. And it looks like to me that it kind of goes off the graph there. So let's just do a rough sketch, just like that. Alright, so use these steps to find your zeros. Remember, the zeros are the same as the solutions, the roots, and the x-intercepts. Let's move along. Solve the following equation using your graphing calculator and sketch the graph. Step 1 says, put the equation into standard form, make it equal to 0. So the first thing we're going to have to do is subtract 1 from both sides. Now be careful. On the left-hand side, negative 1 has no like term. Make this look a little better there. Negative 1 has no like term, so you're just going to write it like this. Step 2, up at the top of your paper says, type it into y equals and hit zoom 6 to get a standard window. So if I go to my calculator, I'm going to hit clear. We've got 2x squared minus 4x minus 1. And I'm going to hit zoom 6 to look at it in my standard window. And there it is. Look at that glorious thing right there. So then we're going to continue with the steps. So notice I keep going back up and looking. Press second trace to go to the calc menu and choose 0. So I'm going to go up here, I'm going to hit second trace, I'm going to choose 0. And then you want to put your cursor somewhere near the 0. So it's pretty close right there. Go to the left a few times, hit enter. Go back to the 0. Go to the right a few times, hit enter. Hit enter on guess. So our answer here, let's just go ahead and say negative 0.2. X equals negative 0.2. So that works for me. And we don't have to write it as a point, we're just finding the solutions. Then you repeat the process. So second trace takes you to the calculate menu. You can press 2 for 0. You're going to go over there and try to find that 0 and lay that little blinky cursor right on it. Not quite there. That's probably good enough. Then go to the left a few times, hit enter. Go back to the 0. Go to the right a few times, hit enter. And when it says guess, hit enter again. And it looks like, let's just say 2.2-ish, okay? So x is about, we could say that, 2.2. These little squigglies, they mean approximate. Do you have to use them? No. Will you look smarter? Yes. So there you go. You literally just found the x-intercepts, the solutions, the roots, the zeros. They're all called the same thing. Remember, if I go too fast, you can pause it, you can go back, you can rewatch, do what you need to do to get it done. You know what I'm saying? So on this one here, it's not set equal to 0. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add 7 to both sides first. So when we do that, we have 2x squared plus 4x plus 7 equals 0. We're going to bust out the calculator and we're going to hit y equals. We're going to type this in. So 2x squared plus 4x plus 7. And then we're going to graph it. We're going to look at it. Wow, that is just beautiful. Now, some of you looking at this graph can already tell me what the solutions are, okay? Some of you can't, so let's discuss. If we go about our business and we hit second trace and then we do 0, where's the x-intercept at? Do you see the x-intercept? You don't, right? If there's no x-intercept, there's no solutions. No solution. Okay, no x-intercept, no solution. Boom, done. This is a great problem. Super easy. Oh, shucks. It says to sketch the graph here. So let's look. Did it say that on the other problem? I better go back and look. So you're just doing a rough sketch of the graph, like straight up. Just a rough sketch. Let's look up here. Did it say to sketch it? Oh, it did. Oh my. All right, so when we did this, we had an x-intercept here. We had one here, and it definitely opened up. Okay, so there's your rough sketch of the graph. Remember, you can pause it right here, draw it, write it down. You can go back, pause it, draw it, write it down. Do what you need to do, okay? Over here, solve the following equation using your graphing calculator and sketch the graph, which this time I'm going to go on and follow the directions because I really have been off. So this is already set equal to 0, so I'm loving that. So we hit y equals, we're going to type it on in, so x squared plus 6x plus 9. We're going to check out that graph. Oh my goodness, just a beautiful graph right there. And we're going to go ahead and find the solution. So we're going to hit second trace, we're going to find the 0. Now I don't know about you, but I'm only seeing 1 0. Okay, so we're only going to focus on this 1. Alright, so I'm on the 0, I'm going to go left a few, hit enter. Go back to the 0. Go write a few, hit enter. Hit enter on guess. Boom. -3, 0. So x equals -3. And if we have to draw a sketch of this, I mean, you probably were able to look at it and tell, but don't clown. I mean, it could have been -2.8, you know what I'm saying? So be careful. I want to point out to you that this only has one solution. I know in my class I talked about if the exponent's a 2, there should be 2 solutions. Well, technically, -3 is a solution 2 times when you have a bounce. So there are 2 real solutions, but they're the same one. They're -3. All right? Like I said, if you need to rewatch this, rewatch it. You need to rewind it, you know, go back, check it out, do what you need to do. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, goodbye.